Hey guys, Esper here with another tips and tricks video. Today we're going to be going over the Sortilege and which type you should be building, and we're also going to go into a little trick for how to max out your stats without using any seals whatsoever. I get a lot of questions on should I build the barrier or should I build the shield, and it really depends on what character you're building it for. So if you've got a character like Miranda and you're using her TMR on her, she's got a armor in her TMR slot with 10 defense on it. So in that case, you're going to want to build the barrier, which is going to give you 12 spirit. So then you've got your 10 spirit, or your 10 defense and your 12 spirit. Right now we don't have stat stacking like they do in JP, so having something with 12 defense and 10 defense on it isn't going to give us any benefit in the defensive department. It's only going to take your highest stat for whatever item has that highest stat and use that. For things like the Warrior of Light, if you're using like a Gafgarion or a sword or a TMR sword for him, then you're going to want to go ahead and look at what type you built for your Armor of Light. So if you built the shield, then you'll want to go with the barrier. And if you've got a character that just doesn't have armor on him at all right now, this is a very good accessory for that. So if you've got something where you've just stuck a Mirage vest up that doesn't really have any levels on it, go ahead and grab yourself a bunch of these. They're great just for building the +1 if you don't like to farm, and you can stick those on a character and get a lot of use out of these stats. The defense and the spirit for being so high for a accessory is really nice on this. If you build this to a +5, you can get up to evasion 8. So if you don't have a Sage's hat, you could build yourself a shield and a barrier of this and have 2 accessories on yourself and even a 3rd accessory in your TMR slot, or a TMR that has a lot of evasion or agility on it already, and make yourself a nice little evade build with these while still having really high defense and really high spirit. So if you missed out on the Sage's hat, definitely try and pick up 2 of these at +5. The +5 version will have 8 evasion, whereas the +1 version will only have 1 evasion. Regardless of if it's a +1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, you're going to be able to get this all the way up to 20 blind resist at 5-star awakening. So we're not really using blind resist for a whole lot right now. There will be raids and towers and things later on in the game where you might want to have that blind resist. In the dungeon that's coming up for Final Fantasy Tactics, like the tower event, we're probably going to see some blind in there. I would imagine seeing it quite a bit, just because we were getting an item with blind resist on there. So for my suggestions on this, if you're somebody who likes to farm, I would try and go for 2 +5s, 1 of each type. If you're somebody who doesn't like to farm at all, I would say try and pick yourself up 2 or 3 of these at +1, and you'll be able to put those on your characters, whether you're doing guild wars or arenas or even just in tower. You'll have 3 of them to put on your characters. So let me go ahead and show you the little trick here. We can do a full stat build on any of these with the Sortilege. So what I did on this one in particular is, before I even went in to go and try and build it, I used 3 HP hammers. So you go into smithing, use 3 of your HP hammers, and then just start leveling this thing up and awakening it with no seals whatsoever. And this will take it all the way up. It'll max out all your stats, because you've already got enough HP in there to, once that HP maxes out, it's forcing all the points into your other stats. So that's, as you can see here, how I got all these stats all the way maxed out. So it's a lot cheaper than using seals. I mean, the HP hammers I think cost 1,800, so you get 1 of those a day for 3 days, and you can throw those in there. Seals are a lot harder to obtain. You can only get 5 of them a day, and you'd have to be throwing a bunch of them in here. So that's an easy way to max this thing out. Upcoming, we're going to be having some videos on character reviews, such as Kilfey, Warrior of Light, going over some builds and stuff for them. We'll be doing some storyline quests or videos, and we're also going to be doing a video coming up here on a guide for the Deep Dungeon or the Midlights Dungeon that's coming up for this Final Fantasy Tactics 2 event. So keep a lookout for those. Hit the subscribe if you want to be notified when those come out. Hit that little bell icon. And then once we get up to 100 subscribers, I'll go ahead and do a little introductory video here. I was going to do it when the servers went down on Wednesday, but I just didn't feel quite right yet because I wanted to save that for 100 subscribers. I was going to do it just because I couldn't really get into the game and do any other kinds of videos, but I wanted to get in there and farm some mats so that I could go ahead and show you guys easiest way to get this thing maxed out and what to sort of think about whether you want to do a +5 or a +1 when you're farming stuff. I personally made a +1 on this item because this account has Sid. So if the Coral Sword comes out next week with Adira like it did in JP, then I'm probably just going to grab as many of the recipes as I can for this and then worry about the mats in the future. I might go through the store and grab all those, what are they, the lightning crysts? Or no, I don't think they're lightning, I think they're ice, whatever the blue ones are. So I'll go through and grab those as well, and then sit on this for later, because I'm really going to want to farm the Coral Sword and get that to +5 for Sid. It's pretty much a must. So they're water crysts, that's what they are. So I'll grab these. There's 300 of them. So I'll grab those and I'll grab the recipes so that I can build this in the future. But I'll just go ahead and keep that at a +1 if that Coral Sword comes out. If not, we'll think about getting this up to a +5 or building an additional +5 with this +1, because it's a pretty sick item. As far as accessories goes, you're not going to get those stats very often. So I hope this sheds some lights on what it is that you should build, or based upon the guides that you have. Until next time, take care.